Hey YouTube, welcome back, etc., lesson below, all that kind of stuff. Talking about the state of the fleet report, whatever I said in the last video. This time about the bass instruments. I only have 3 of those, so it's shorter. Pros and cons, how they've changed with my playing in the last month, and all the time before that. So, first up is my Olson Rotor 50 screw bell, etc. Hey, cat. And this one, I'm going to give it a grade of, I'm going to say C. Pretty low grade. You might be surprised. The first big reason for that, of course, is ergonomics are still just trash. They're so bad. I can play it for short amounts of time, especially if I don't have to use the valves. It's not that bad. I have the strap on here. It's pretty comfortable. The cat just ran out of the room. But if I have to use the valves a lot, like playing most bass trombone music, it's uncomfortable within a couple minutes. I can play maybe an etude, maybe 2, and then I'm done. And I want to put it away because it's not fun to play. And, like I talked about my 3B, my other video, it's not very inspiring, but it's still fun to play. I don't have any, problems playing it. This, just because of the ergonomics, is so not fun to play that I just want to put it away. And that's a big black mark against it. Other small cons, valves are weirdly loud. I think that's just something about the Olson rotors. Not entirely sure. What else? It doesn't... I hate this. This is really annoying. This has a Shires receiver for the slides. Pretty sure it's a Shires receiver anyway. And of course, both of my slides have Edwards tenons, and they don't quite match. So this likes to flop over. This one actually is better than my Meinl horn. If I kind of jam them together just right, it stays up mostly, but if I give it any kind of torque like that, if I put it to the side too fast, or if I had a heavy mute, it just flops. And that, pretty huge black mark. Maybe I didn't regale you guys with this story, but I did an audition on my Meinl horn, and in the middle of a solo behind the screen, my horn flopped over and I couldn't use the second valve anymore. And I just kept playing, and I just played all the way through it with only the F valve, and my horn flopped over. But that's really infuriating to have that happen. Big black mark against it. Other negatives, it doesn't, at least behind the bell, and that might be because of the screw bell, it doesn't seem to have a lot of middle to the sound. It's just kind of a blah sound. There's not a lot of core to it, and I've partially remedied that by using my Sterling silver lead pipe, which previously all my other instruments has never really worked. It's kind of felt harsh. Articulations are just too much. In this, it adds some of those things, those characteristics back in. So better articulations, more definition to the slots, more core to the sound. Yeah, cat. Hello, welcome to my video. But even then, I'm still not super happy with it. Hey, little cat. I'm using my dual bore slide at the moment. The single bore doesn't feel super great. It adds some core back to the sound, but the low range gets a little bit stuffy, and it overall isn't awesome. I'm using my Greg Black 1G. I actually went through all of my mouthpieces to find the best match, and this seems like the best match, but it still doesn't feel like it's it. So overall, it's okay, but I don't especially enjoy playing it. And honestly, if I had to give one of my basses the axe right now, this is the one I would choose. And hopefully that's not true in the future, but right now, not super enthused with it. And every day that I pick it with my app to play randomly, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm playing that. And that's not something I want to have to go through. Next up is my contrabass. Hard to get this in the frame. Oh, there it is. My F, D, B flat contrabass. Love this thing. It keeps getting better with me, and that's all I really want out of instruments, is that they grow with me as a player. And this just keeps getting better. With my new way of playing, nice and soft and resonant. Very, I had a good word for this earlier, but I forgot it. Whatever. Anyway, it really resonates when I play soft. And bad instruments, don't really do that. So really happy with that. Intonation is still really bad, but whatever, can't do much about that. And honestly, the contrabass, I don't know, it's not going to get that good until I spend like $12,000. So not too worried about it. Cons, I mean, just the intonation's bad. The slide's really big, and it's hard to nail down those slide positions. But this instrument has gotten a lot better with me. It feels like a lot of the problem notes I had before have kind of been paved over. It feels like everything I can kind of connect. The pedal register, starting at pedal F, of course, not pedal B flat, because this is an F. The first, like, 3-ish notes, F, E, E flat, are pretty hard to just nail, because the slot for the pedals is like this. You're just like, and it's like, whoa. It's very hard to nail down pedal F, pedal E flat. When you put down the D valve for pedal D, there's a little more resistance and it kind of centers the note for you. Those first 3 are pretty rough. And there's a big difference, of course, between low G flat with both valves. It slides out pretty far. Those are not stuffy. Those are actually pretty good notes. But when you go to F, woo, massive difference. So not totally even, but I don't know what you would expect out of a German contrabass from the 60s with different valves than it was built with. Overall, I'm happy with this. I don't especially enjoy playing it because it is a bit of a chore. It's big, it's heavy, it takes a lot of air, and there's not a lot of music that I feel really comfortable just playing on it, but it's a lot more fun to play than it used to be. So, still happy with this, and I'm still playing it a lot. Last up, my Holt TR185 with the slot-in valve. So cons about this, it's still just a single. I can't use the second valve at all, so it's just an F. I can't even pull it to E, so I can't play low Cs. There's just no way to do it. This only pulls out like a couple inches, and it messes all the linkages up, and it's just useless. It's also a little bit too long. To be in tune the other day, I was there. No wiggle room whatsoever in case it gets colder. That's kind of annoying. I'd rather not cut this, which is usually what I would do. Probably going to leave it as is, but that is a little scary. That's about it. Otherwise, this thing rules. I already liked it. I thought it was pretty good, but I thought it was vintage good. So, vintage good means makes a really cool sound. It's very characterful. It's got lots of like interesting stuff coming out of it. But it's hard to play. Does some things really well, but it's not making your life any easier. On the other side, we have like Shires and Edwards and stuff where they're really easy to play. They almost do things for you, and the sound is good. You know, it's not bad, but it's not very interesting. It doesn't have that quality to it, the leather in the sound, right? And this already had a lot of that character in the sound. It's got a huge core to it, like almost too much at times. And I thought it was a little bit difficult to play. But now that I've been playing more and getting better with this stuff, it kind of moved over here, where it's like actually pretty easy to play, but it makes this awesome sound, this awesome vintage sound. And I've maybe had one or two Bach 50Bs singles that were close to that. I think I would say only one that was actually pretty easy to play and made a cool sound. All the other ones were firmly in this camp of makes a cool sound, not very fun to play, and that's why I sold them all, because in a gig, you want something you can rely on. You don't have to think 5 times about, oh man, I'm going to play this G flat in tune. You just want it to happen, and that's why everybody plays the Shires and Edwards and stuff. This feels like I could just kind of like show up to a gig and feel really good about it. So, very excited for this. This is going to get, of course, a middle finger lever for the second valve, perhaps a D slide. If you look at it right now, there's not enough room to fit a D slide in here, so we'll think about doing that. But even with just E flat, because if I pull this to here, it's an E flat. I can live with E flat. It's not awesome, but I can live with it. Even with just that, I'm so excited for that. And even as it stands, if I had to get rid of one of my bass trombones, It'd be that one. I would get rid of that one first to keep a single with a useless second valve on it. That's really how I feel about this thing. It is awesome. And I'll have more video of me playing it at some point when I trust my playing a little bit more. But right now, that one's not very inspiring, not comfortable to hold, and this one just sounds so good. So that's all I got. The state of the fleet report, whatever I said. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.